Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Modern Farming Podcast. I'm your co-host, Chris Weary, and Modern Farming Podcast is brought to you by the Green Gene Foundation, where agriculture meets education, innovation, and outreach. I'm here today with a new co-host for the podcast. She's a co-founder of the Green Gene Foundation. Her name is Tara Palmer. Good morning, Tara. How are you?
Good morning, Chris. Very good today. Thank you.
It's very exciting. It's really nice to switch up hosts. We've had a number of different hosts, and it just keeps it kind of fresh and interesting and different. So I think this will be a great little change, and we're looking forward to hearing your point of view as we go through with our guests.
Absolutely.
Great. So with no further ado, our guest today is Miss Michelle Williamson. She's the operations manager at G&F Farms in Hillsborough County. Thank you for joining us today, Michelle, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having me. Well, I'm the operations manager on what is a 6th-generation strawberry farm here in Hillsborough County. The farm that I actually live on was homesteaded by my late husband's family in around 1889, and we have had strawberries on it since 1889.
Wow. That is more than 125 years.
Yes, it is.
That's amazing. So what does it mean to you? You've got grandchildren now farming with you on your farm. What does that mean to you?
Well, I have grandchildren that want to farm on my farm. I don't have any quite old enough yet to take over the business, but both of my daughters are involved in the business and my niece is involved in the business, and the kids get out there and mess around as much as they can. And I enjoy it because we're living and carrying on a legacy that was started, many years ago.
Awesome. So that counts. When you got grandchildren out there messing around in the strawberry patch, I think that counts. What do you think, Tara? That counts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So having strawberries for that long, what are some of the changes that you've seen over the years with the strawberries?
Well, I think there's pictures laying around here in the office, back some in, the very early days where they would cover strawberries with pieces of paper, with, big long pieces of paper and straw and things like that to keep them warm during the freezes that we have here in Central Florida. We irrigate and use different types of frost cover and things like that. I guess some of the things that I've seen since I've been in the industry, which I actually grew up around it. My mom worked for UF-IFAS at the Strawberry Research Lab, so I grew up around strawberries my whole life before I actually got involved in the business. But we used to, at the beginning of the season, we would put out enough fertilizer to feed the crop all year long. And now we just dose feed it, usually on a daily basis, what it needs for the next couple of days, which has reduced fertilizer usage, reduced runoff into the environment, and things like that. We also now use GPS technology in order to lay out our fields and things like that. It gives us more precision with applications that we're inputting and things like that. So those are some of the different things that we've seen over the years.
Do you fertilize through your irrigation? Is that how you do it?
We do. We use a drip irrigation system. We converted to drip irrigation probably in the late 1980s and have been using it since then. Our overhead irrigation systems, we've changed them over the years so that we're using low flow type irrigations to conserve water and things like that. We've also, tried to incorporate as many regenerative processes into our cultivation as we can. I guess some of the biggest things that we've seen change is our use of crop protection chemicals. Before, we would use, different insecticides and things like that were broad spectrum that would kill just about anything and everything. We now use more chemistries that are targeted and are less harmful in the environment, less persistent in the environment than what they used to be. As science changes, we've changed our practices.
So so your strawberry farm, are you picking and processing the strawberries yourself, or are you a pick, or are you a combination of both?
We are a fresh market operation. We don't pick and harvest ourselves. We use H2A crews. We have three different umbrellas that our family farms under, and overall we have a little over 1,000 acres of strawberries.
Wow.
And so we employ throughout the season roughly about 1,600 workers every year.
Wow, that's really impressive.
I wanted to know more about the ag education portion of it, and how you put back into the children. I know that you have many aspects of what you do.
Uh, well, I've been a part of Farm Bureau and in Farm Bureau leadership for many years. I serve as the chairman of our women's committee here in the county, as well as having served as the chair of the state women's leadership committee. And one of our main focuses has always been ag education, whether it be working with ag in the classroom, working with FFA students, working with 4-H students. That's something we've always done, as well as educate our legislators and regulators and everything like that, as well as the general community. So I've always been involved with educating, whether it's at the state, national, local level, whatever it is. But I'm really involved with Hillsborough County 4-H, and have gotten. My daughter was in 4-H for a short amount of time. She was more active in FFA when she got into high school and things like that. But my grandchildren are in 4-H, and so I've gotten really involved with the county 4-H program here. I'm the leader for our food challenge teams out of Hillsborough County. And so it's a kind of like a chopped contest where the kids are got 40 minutes in which to prepare a dish and create a presentation for the judges. And they're judged on their food safety skills, their nutritional knowledge, and their knowledge of my plate, as well as how they handle themselves in the kitchen doing the prep work. So that's kind of gotten pretty excited. So I head up the teams for Hillsborough County as their coach, and we've gone to the national contest in Dallas, Texas. I took 4 students a couple of years ago out to Dallas to compete at the nationals, and we finished in 3rd place, which we were really proud. Team had come together shortly, but in addition to doing that education hands-on with the kids, with my grandkids and their 4-H teams, I go into classrooms and do readings and do hands-on type of things. Here in Hillsborough County, we were one of the very first counties in the state to create ag venture programs, and we see roughly 5,000 3rd graders every year through our ag venture program, and I'm there every year teaching a couple of days. I've taught everything from strawberry production to tropical fish, which I know nothing about, but we get in there and it's all hands-on and things like that. So those are the things I enjoy doing. I enjoy educating legislators. I've had numerous legislators out on the farm to help them to understand how the regulations that they enact affect us out here on the farm, and just so they can see exactly what we're doing out here.
And so why do you feel that's important? Those are really good things. Let us know why it's important, both with the youth and with legislators or adults.
Well, when this country first started, everyone was in agriculture. If you were not producing food, you were not eating. And now agricultural producers are less than 2% of the population. And many people are 4 and 5 generations removed from the farm. so they don't understand exactly how the regulations and exactly what we're trying to do out there on the farm in order to provide food for our country as well as, other countries in the world.
So important. Yes. So have you brought some of the agriculture teachings into the schools? I know you've done some youth programs you talked about. Do you work with the schools as well?
I go into the classrooms, based upon teachers asking me. I've got several teachers that every year they go, can you come in and talk to the kids? Can you read us a story? Most of these are elementary school kids. I've actually I've got a couple friends that teach up at UF, and they've had me as guest speakers in their classroom to talk about, agriculture at that higher level, with college students and things like that. So it kind of runs the gambit of what I do. But every year, like I said, our Ag Venture program here in Hillsborough County, we've got hands-on. The kids run through 4 or 5 stations while they're at the state fairgrounds, and they get taught, and they have a hands-on activity that they do at every station.
Wow, that's really cool.
I'm interested in women in ag, and I know you bring your own perspective into that. Can you tell us about being a woman in ag and how that affects you?
Well, when I first got started, it was kind of like you're seen and not heard. But in the case of all agricultural operations, which 95% of them, a lot of people, sit there and talk about corporate ag and things like that. Well, ag is not corporate. Even if you're a large farm like we are, it's still a family operation, and it's families working together. And in the case of us, it's always been my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, and all of us kids and grandkids and things like that. And the women have always been right there in the back. I mean, I grew up after I married my husband. When we first were married, if we had a crew out in the field, I was out in the field. So I was doing everything that he was doing, and then also coming home and taking care of the thing. But then as regulations started getting heavier and more hitting us, my father-in-law, which I loved him to death, he saw the need that somebody needed to advocate for our industry because it was getting harder and harder to make things happen at the farm. And, the regulations were starting to tie our hands and stuff like that. So he allowed me the freedom to, do what I like to do, which is go out and advocate for our industry. So I became really active in Farm Bureau, as well as the Strawberry Growers Association, and just different organizations. We have a couple that are here that are county organizations. I was appointed to the ECP committee here in Hillsborough County by one of our county commissioners. They each had several appointees that they could put to the commission, and these were where we would give input to our county ECP about environmental things, that the regulations that they were enacting and how it affected us and things like that. So I, served on that. I served on our Economic Development Council. But I guess probably I had a lot of people that were in the industry itself, like Dr. Chip Hinton, who was the executive director for many years of the Florida Strawberry Growers Association, as well as Pat Cockrell and Scotty Butler and everything up at Farm Bureau. They recognized in me that I, enjoyed what I was doing and that I was knowledgeable in what the issues were and things like that. So I kind of became some of their go-to. And so they gave me the opportunity to be front and center in advocating for certain things within the industry. And so that was kind of where it got started, that there was a lot of people that just believed in me. And so I've just continued to do that over the years.
That must have been a great feeling to have people believe in you like that. And certainly it sounds like you've taken it taken advantage of it and done some amazing things.
So, well, I just feel like that with us being less than 2% of the population, somebody has got to give us a voice. And I know from the standpoint of working day in and day out at the farm itself, most of the time in production agriculture, you don't have the luxury of being able to be away from your business for any length of time.
Absolutely.
In doing all these, kind of leadership and advocacy roles, what would be one of your, or maybe there's two of your most proud accomplishments that you've created or accomplished or done?
Well, I don't know that. First of all, anything that's ever been accomplished has never been accomplished just with me. It's always been a team of people or things like that. But I guess one of the very first times that I ever stood on the floor of a Farm Bureau annual meeting was back in the 1980s when the state of Florida enacted underneath the Department of Community Affairs. They started wanting to track where different chemicals and things like that were stored. And in order to raise the funds, in order to provide the oversight for that, they devised a way of anyone that had any of these different types of chemicals located on their property, they were going to charge you based upon the number of employees that you had. Well, in agriculture, during peak times of the year, we have a lot of employees. But during the general times and things like that, we have very few employees. And at the time that the different chemicals that they were really trying to track, we usually had no employees, except for maybe 10 or 12 on the whole property at the time. So they were proposing to charge us like $5 an employee or something like that. So I spoke at the Farm Bureau annual meeting about this particular issue, and it became policy for Farm Bureau to advocate to change the way that rule was written. And because of Farm Bureau's advocacy at the state level, we were at least allowed to pick our quarter of the year where we had the least amount of employees in order to pay this particular fee. So it was a win for us and a win for them. We were in compliance, but yet it did not cost us a lot of money in which to stay in compliance. My father-in-law always said it was easier to save $1 than it was to earn $1.
That's a good saying.
So to me, farming is usually about legacy, and what do you plan on leaving as a legacy with your farm and what you've been doing?
Well, like I said earlier, my two daughters and my niece are both actively involved in the operation, and my mother-in-law, she's kind of semi-retired now, but I hope that I can leave at least to those three girls my passion that I feel for agriculture, that they would continue to advocate for the industry, and that they would continue to keep our family farm operating as long as it's feasible to do so here in Hillsborough County. So
Is one of them actively working with you when you go to the legislatures and
my youngest daughter, she is kind of active in that issue. She's kind of been doing that since she was in high school. I would drag her along to Tallahassee for Farm Bureau meetings and different things like that. She's the one that has more of the passion for the advocacy part of it and the teaching part of it. My oldest daughter, she's more of a hands-on operations type person. And she just didn't get my extrovert gene like my youngest daughter did.
Well, that's awesome. And that's a legacy that you do pass down.
Yeah. So.
And that's great that you kind of divided the workload too. So not I'm sure you've had some busy days yourself trying to wear both hats. So
I do. And my youngest daughter, she doesn't actually work on our family operations. She works with our marketer that sells all of our produce and everything like that. But my daughter works in one of our partnership farms, and then my niece works in our personal wholly owned operations. So they're all actively involved in something that we do.
great. Sounds like your future is bright for your farms.
The girls are very passionate about continuing their grandfather's legacy.
Great.
And I think that as long as we're able to continue to farm and make a living for ourselves, that we will continue to do it. And,
Well, people love strawberries. I know. I think the strawberry growing industry hasn't suffered, as badly as like the citrus has around here. I know because strawberries grow a lot in the winter time, you get some freeze issues.
mhm.
But it sounds like the strawberry industry is alive and strong, and that's great for your company.
Yeah, it's been really good. We've got some really great research going on down in Baum with University of Florida IFAS, and then our marketer also has a really large research and development organization through their company and things like that. So we're really excited about what the future holds with new technologies and things like that. I know I'm just dying to get my hands on this little UV light that they're working on down at UF IFAS in their AI department that goes through and it'll kill bacterial funguses and things like that without any chemical usage. So I'm really excited about some of the things that I see on the horizon that will, reduce input cost and reduce our reliance upon crop protection chemicals and things like that. So the future, as far as technology goes, is really exciting, and I just can't wait for it to come to fruition.
And I'm assuming that as the operation manager of your farm, you're involved in that line of, I guess, work or prospect as well.
I am. I attend, as well as, it's not just all legislative. I stay on the pulse of what's coming out of the university as far as their research goes and things like that. We also work really closely with the university professors that are working on technology for strawberries. We have them, occasionally off and on doing on-field trials and things at our farms. We just finished up season before last a 3-year trial with one of the doctors at UF who was working on reducing water usage in the strawberry industry. And she was working with a grant from Southwest Florida Water Management District, and they were doing their on-farm trials at our farm and things like that. So it's really interesting. We do things like that. We've been working with another company called Kula Bio that's in the field of regenerative type agriculture, and we've been working with them for 2 or 3 years on a product that actually will fixate nitrogen to the roots of the plants so that we can reduce our nitrogen inputs and things like that. So we're all the time doing different things like that to try to trial new technology coming out into the industry.
Very neat. Very neat. So the Green Gene Foundation is one of its its biggest interests or activities is regenerative farming. So that's really nice to hear that
Mhm.
a big business with 1,000 acres of strawberries is looking at understanding that you don't just have to soak the ground with fertilizer constantly to be to be productive. So that's great.
Yeah. Well, inputs cost money, and cost money reduces the bottom line. So anything we can do to, you know, help the environment as well as improve our bottom line is always something that we're looking at. I would say that when we're looking at tools to incorporate, we're always looking, one, will it benefit our bottom line? and two, how will it benefit the environment? Because we have metrics for sustainability that we give to ourselves, and we have measurable points along the way that we want to meet to ensure that we're reaching those goals for sustainability.
Excellent. So I have a note here, and maybe there's something to it, or maybe it's just a question. But do you have a story that you can share about the community? It says the community rallied around agriculture or supporting your farm in a meaningful way.
I don't know that I really have a story to tell about anything that's personally related to our farm or anything like that. But I would say that, I grew up here in Plant City. We're known as the winter strawberry capital of the world. Everything around Plant City revolves around strawberries, and it kind of makes our community what it is. So I think, I don't know, it's really more, I loved the year when we created the world's largest strawberry shortcake. We held the title for all of about 6 months, and then California, being California, decided, yeah, that's not going to happen, and they took us down out of the Guinness Book of World Records. But it's just it's a community. Strawberries are all about Plant City and the whole community. You just drive through downtown Plant City, and every single store, every little shop that's in Plant City, there's something for sale in there that's got strawberries on it. So, I always
remember the water tower.
Yes, the water tower. Yeah.
So if you could share with one message with the people that had never been on the farm, what would it be?
To know that we do what we do because we have a passion for it, that we feel a responsibility to the land, and that we follow all the science that's available to make sure that we're doing things the correct way and are not harming our consumers, not harming the environment and everything like that. And to know that sometimes mistakes happen, but that none of them are ever intentional, that science evolves over time, and what might have been good science 30 years ago is not good science now, and that agriculture has always and will always adapt to what those new scientific research is showing as the best way to handle things.
I think that is a great message, and that's a message we hear a lot. So it's great to hear that people get that in many different forms and areas. That's cool. All right. I'm kind of questioned out. I don't know about you, Tara. Do you have anything else you want to bring up?
No, I just wanted to know if you had anything else that you wanted to share with us.
I just, always want to share the fact that I think the future for Florida agriculture is bright. And I think that the citizens of Florida, as well as everyone, should be really proud of the way agriculture in the state cares about the environment and the benefits that agriculture provides to the state of Florida. It creates open spaces where so much development goes on in our state that we really are providing a benefit to the state, in the fact that production agriculture helps to provide the open spaces that we need and that we're losing every day to development.
Yes. Thank you, Michelle, for being on Modern Farming Podcast today. And we really appreciate all that you do in the area with your strawberry.
Thank you again to Ms. Michelle Williamson, GNF Farms, for a great interview. And thanks to everybody who's watching. And we will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.